Welcome back to the deep dive, everybody. Today we're tackling some fascinating stuff you sent our way.
Yeah, it looks like we're going deep on Darwin Stevenson this time.
Right, you know him as Darwin Stevenson, but his followers call him Darby.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we've got a lot to unpack here. His whole deal is about spiritual evolution and this concept of like finding your true self.
And your purpose.
Yeah,
Like your divine purpose, it's all in here.
right. So we should probably start with this big Enlightenment experience he had back in 2008.
Oh, yeah, that seems like a good place to start.
I mean, it wasn't just like a feeling, this was a huge revelation for him.
Like it totally changed his outlook.
Exactly. He believed it revealed all these fundamental secrets about the universe.
And about what humanity is really here for, like our purpose,
And that's where he came up with this whole system, right?
Yeah, this system for spiritual evolution to help people become their true selves.
So how does he define self anyway? Because it seems like a pretty big deal in his teachings.
Well, he doesn't see it as just one thing, like just your mind or your body.
Right. It's got to be more than that.
It's more like the combined intelligence of your body, spirit, and mind all working together.
So it's like all those parts of you are connected and they all matter.
Absolutely. It's not just one thing, it's everything.
Which makes his focus on spiritual evolution even more interesting, right?
Totally, because it's about how all those pieces, body, spirit, mind, help you evolve.
And it's also interesting to learn about Darby himself, like his background.
Right, he wasn't always this spiritual guru.
No, he was actually pretty successful in like a traditional sense.
Career, family, the whole 9 yards.
But he still felt like something was off.
Like something was missing, yeah.
And that's what pushed him to search for something more.
And eventually led him to that Enlightenment experience.
So this is a good reminder for everyone listening.
Yeah, it's not just abstract spiritual talk.
Right, we're going to explore how these ideas can be applied in your own life.
Yeah, how you can use them for your own self-discovery.
Because that's what Darby is all about, helping you grow and evolve.
Exactly. So as we go deeper into his teachings, think about how this resonates with you.
Yeah, like how does this concept of the self as this collective intelligence sit with you?
Does it make sense to you?
Because that's a foundational idea for Darby.
So we're going to get into this Enlightenment experience now.
Right, he described it as this internal revelation.
Yeah, like the truth of existence just became clear to him.
But it wasn't an external event or anything.
More like a profound shift in understanding.
And this idea of interconnectedness was a huge part of it.
Huge, like he saw how everything is connected.
And this concept of love with a capital L.
Yeah, not just romantic love, but like a universal force.
A unifying principle.
Exactly, and that's what fueled his whole system for spiritual evolution.
Okay, so it sounds like this love is pretty central to his teachings.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the Enlightenment wasn't just a one-time thing.
No, it was like the start of something bigger.
Right, like his understanding just kept deepening over time.
Which allowed him to develop this system for other people.
And that's what we're here to break down today.
Exactly. We're going to see how he built this practical framework.
To help people connect with the same understanding.
And that brings us back to Darby's main goal.
Which is?
To guide you on your own path of spiritual evolution.
So this isn't just theory, it's meant to be put into practice.
Exactly. That's the whole point.
So our focus today is to help you understand his ideas.
In a way that's meaningful and applicable to your life.
And to your own pursuit of spiritual evolution.
And just to reiterate that key question we asked earlier.
About how this idea of the interconnected self sits with you.
Right. Think about that as we go deeper.
Because that's what's going to make this whole deep dive valuable for you.
Absolutely. Your own personal connection to this stuff.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of Darby's teachings.
Yeah, let's unpack it all.
Always keeping this idea of spiritual evolution in mind.
And the true self as the interconnected intelligence of body, spirit, and mind.
Right, because that's the heart of it.
So where should we start? Maybe with how he defines each of those components.
Yeah, let's do that. Body, spirit, and mind.
And how they play into our spiritual evolution.
Makes sense to me. Why don't we start with the body?
Sure, seems like the most tangible place to start.
You know, it's the one we can definitely feel and touch.
So how does Darby see the role of the body in all of this?
Well, he definitely doesn't see it as just like a shell.
Right, it's not just a vehicle for the spirit or something.
He says it's an essential part of our collective intelligence.
Like it's not separate from our spiritual or mental selves.
But a key part of the whole thing.
And it both influences and is influenced by those other aspects.
So taking care of your physical health isn't just about your body.
It's also about supporting your spiritual and mental well-being.
Makes sense when you think about it.
If you're exhausted or feeling sick, it affects everything.
Your focus, your mood, your outlook on life.
Darby emphasizes that neglecting the body throws everything off balance
Right. It messes with your ability to connect with your true self.
and to progress on your spiritual journey.
So it's all about finding that harmony.
A solid foundation for growth.
Okay, so what about the mind then?
Right. How does Darby see the mind fitting into this whole interconnected self?
And what's its role in spiritual evolution?
So for Darby, the mind is where your thoughts live, your reasoning, and your understanding.
It's how we process everything we experience.
He says that a disciplined and open mind is super important for growth.
So it's not just about being smart in the traditional sense.
No, it's about being willing to question your assumptions.
And to be open to new ideas, especially about spirituality.
If you're closed off to new perspectives.
It blocks your spiritual growth.
Exactly. You can't see deeper truths or understand your purpose if you're stuck in your ways.
So how do you cultivate a more open mind?
Darby suggests constant learning and self-reflection.
Makes sense. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Right. And the more open you become to new possibilities.
Okay, so we've covered body and mind,
That leaves the spirit.
which is a little harder to grasp.
Yeah, it can be pretty abstract.
So how does Darby define the spirit in this whole body, spirit, mind thing?
And what's its role in our spiritual evolution?
Okay, so for Darby, the spirit is like your essence.
Your connection to something bigger than yourself.
Something beyond the physical world.
It's where your intuition comes from, your values, your deepest sense of purpose.
So how do we nurture the spirit?
Darby says it's about practices that connect you to that inner essence.
Like meditation or doing things that give you meaning and joy.
Yeah, things that feed your soul.
So it's all about cultivating that inner connection.
To something more profound.
Something beyond the everyday concerns of the body and mind.
Exactly. And here's the key.
What's that?
When all three, body, spirit, and mind, are in sync,
They're all aligned and working together.
that's when you really start to embody your true self.
And that's what propels you forward on your spiritual journey.
You become this cohesive and integrated whole.
Okay, I'm getting it. So we have this picture of the self as interconnected.
Body, spirit, and mind all playing their part in our evolution.
And the goal is to become our true self.
But what does that actually mean? Like, what does the true self look like?
How would you describe it?
Well, according to Darby, it's the fullest expression of that collective intelligence.
Body, spirit, and mind working together seamlessly.
And in alignment with your divine purpose.
So you're not trying to become someone else.
It's more like uncovering who you already are deep down.
The most authentic and fully realized version of yourself.
Yeah, you're shedding all this stuff that's blocking your true nature.
And aligning with your deepest values and dreams.
Darby says your true self is inherently loving, purposeful, and connected.
So how does his system actually help us get there?
What are the steps?
Right, because he came up with this whole approach after his enlightenment.
Well, the system is actually pretty simple at its core.
Really?
Yeah, it revolves around making the most loving choice you can in each moment.
That's it.
That's the foundation.
Seems almost too easy.
But think about it, consistently making loving choices.
It starts to shift everything,
It brings your body, spirit, and mind into greater alignment,
paving the way for you to evolve.
and for your true self to emerge.
But choosing love isn't always so simple, is it?
No, definitely not.
Like, how do you know what the loving choice is?
Especially in tough situations.
Darby acknowledges that it's not always easy or obvious.
Sometimes the loving choice isn't the most fun or immediately rewarding.
You have to look past your immediate desires or fears.
And consider what's truly best in the long run.
Not just for yourself, but for others too.
He says a loving choice often fosters connection, understanding, and growth.
So you have to think about the bigger picture.
Not just what you want right now.
And he talks about paying attention to your thoughts and feelings.
Right, even your physical sensations.
Because they can tell you if you're in alignment with your true self.
Yeah, if something feels off or you're feeling uneasy,
That could be a sign that you need to rethink your choices.
it all circles back to that interconnectedness.
Of body, spirit, and mind.
When you make loving choices, you're nourishing all those parts of yourself.
And moving towards that harmony that defines the true self.
That's the beauty of Darby's message.
It's a path of spiritual evolution that's open to everyone.
Because we all have the capacity to choose love.
It's about constant growth and refinement guided by that simple principle.
And ultimately, that's what Darby saw as his purpose,
To be a guide on this journey for others,
to help people understand these principles and actually use them.
so they can evolve and discover their true selves.
That's what his enlightenment was all about.
It wasn't just for him, it was to help others unlock their potential.
And live more fulfilling lives aligned with their true nature.
Okay, so for all of you listening,
We want you to think about this.
how does this idea of the interconnected self resonate with you?
Does it make sense based on your own experiences?
And how can you start making those loving choices in your daily life?
Even small choices can make a big difference.
Because that's what can lead you towards your true self.
The self that Darby envisioned. Here's one final thought to leave you with.
What would that be?
What's one small, loving choice you could make today?
Something that would start to align your body, spirit, and mind.
Something that would nudge you towards your true self and your purpose.
That's a great question to consider.
It's all about taking those small steps.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Keep exploring.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.